Using the following stem and leaf plot, find the 5-number summary, range, and interquartile range for the data. Okay, so this stem and leaf plot, if the key isn't given, just assume the stem and leaves are representing the tens place. But this key is given as 1 bar 0 equals 10, so that means the data is the tens place. So the important thing is to be able to recreate the data set in order to work with it. So 1 bar 0 is 10, 1 bar 2 is 12, 2 bar 1 is 21, 22, etc. Now, I'm not going to do these by hand. Rather, what I'm going to do is come up with these using the calculator, and then I'll come and try and do them by hand. So using the calculator, what I can do is start off by putting the data into a list. So I'm going to press Stat, go over to Edit, and clear out what's in the list already, and then just start entering the data set as it appears until I have all my data items in. And I think I will pause the video at this point to save you having to watch me go through the whole thing. Okay, now that that's all in, I'm going to find the 5-number summary using Varistats. So if I press Stat, slide over to Calc, the very first item is Varistats. If you get this menu, that's great. Just follow along with what I do. Make sure your data list is set to L1 by hitting 2nd and 1. And then your frequency list, we don't have one, so leave it blank. If there happens to be something here, press Clear to get rid of it. If you're not seeing this menu, then what you need to do is just press 2nd and 1 to tell the calculator you're using L1, and then press Enter, and it should run the Varistats program. Now, the second page of output is where we find the values of the 5-number summary. So it starts with the minimum, and then Q1, and so forth. So the minimum is 10. Q1 was 26. The median's 43. Q3, I believe, was 55. And the maximum is 63. And that's how we would use the calculator. Now, if you're not using the calculator for those operations, it's really not that bad, especially from a stem and leaf plot, because your data is already sorted. All you have to do is just kind of start from the extremities, and that's easy enough to get the minimum value and the maximum value. So 10 and 63. All right, now the median, you start from those two values and you walk your way inward, starting from the low end and then going to the upper end until you meet the middle value. So we end at 43 here. Now that breaks your data set up into a lower half and an upper half. So the lower half of the data, if you start walking inward for the lower half of the data, and then going inward, that lands you at the median the median of the lower half of the data is the value of Q1. And the median of the upper half of the data, that is the value of Q3. So 55, just like we found with the calculator. All right, so either way, it's not so bad. Now let's go down and start answering the rest of these. Next, we want the range and the interquartile range. So the range is defined as the maximum data entry minus the minimum data entry. And in this case, we already have both of those. It's 63 minus 10, so that's 53. The interquartile range. So it's a range, but it's only a range of the values between Q3 and Q1. We have those as well. So 55 minus 26, and that's going to be 29.